Mr. Thomas has already told you a little bit about our next guest, but he also didn't mention that she was also a Washingtonian Award winner in 1963, and she is here tonight to give us a brief history of the Washington Day banquet. Miss Frances Whittaker.
If Mrs. Knowles thinks that that was an act to follow, just think of me.
You'd be all right there.
Thank you. Mrs. Knowles, Dr. Thomas, and guests, remember the song, "I'm Sitting on Top of the World"? Well, that's where I am right now, for two reasons. This is my 30th Washington Day banquet that I have attended, and two, it is an honor to be asked to be a part of this program. And I might say another reason for sitting on top of the world is a reception, your kindness to me this evening. It's all appreciated. I noticed on the sheet that the date of the birth of the Washington Chamber of Commerce differs from the date that I have. The year is the same, but maybe it was a hard labor. This isn't typical of the rest of my speech, I'll say that. The Washington Chamber of Commerce had its beginning as the Association of Commerce, organized April the 6th, 1959. On June the 6th, 1975, the Business Council and the Association of Commerce merged. February the 28th, 1978, the name was changed to the Washington Chamber of Commerce, which has sponsored a great number of activities over the years. Not the least is a Washington Day banquet. This is a very special event, as it brings the community into thinking particularly of the goodness and generosity of its people. This is the second oldest community project, the first being the high school athletic banquet. There are over 120 organizations that belong to the Chamber. For the banquet, the Chamber has brought into the community some of the leading public figures, particularly on a state and national level, to share their thoughts with the community. The first banquet was held February the 22nd, 1960. The speaker was publisher W. Dean McNaughton of Pekin, who told of his personal trip to Russia. It was held at the St. Mark's Lutheran Church, as was the 1961 and the 1962 banquet. It was in 1961 that the first awards were given to honor two citizens for their outstanding contributions to the city. Glenn Harkins, who is sitting here tonight, and his wife, who gave of his time and talents to all youth of Washington, and the beloved teacher, Miss Louise Hart, were so honored. The award was in the form of a hatchet and I thought the first award was attached to a board. But Mr. Harkins has brought his award, and it's just a plain hatchet. Then the second year, the chamber must have had more success, and they attached it to a board. This particular award belongs to Dick Alexander, and this was the award that was given in 1961 on. The 1963 banquet was held in St. Pat's Gymnasium. The speaker was Dr. Mark Bills, superintendent of the Peoria Public Schools. His subject was conservatives, liberals, and reactionaries. 26 years ago, leaders were worried about labels. Dr. Bills assailed the press for the practice of labeling and charged the public with thinking for itself and not accepting these press-assigned labels. The 1964 banquet was held at the high school cafeteria. The speaker was the Honorable Paul H. Douglas, United States Senator from Illinois. I quote two sentences from his speech. There is a great deal of hollowness and illusion in our national life. People are not what they seem, and issues are not what they seem. We might say, the more life changes, the more it remains the same, because he went on and spoke about the trouble in the African nations and in the Middle East. The award was changed in 1964 from the hatchet and the board to this beautiful plaque. And you that are close up, if you look carefully, I think you can still see the fingerprints of my students. It's a very sacred piece for me. We have had wonderful speakers like the three mentioned, plus Speaker Alan J. Dixon, Secretary of State, Dr. Kenneth Edwards, President of Illinois Central College, Mr. Gordon Lindquist, Director of Traffic Safety, Chicago Motor Club, the Honorable James Thompson, Governor of Illinois, our beloved Reverend Carl Kameyer, when he was associated with the Moline Lutheran Hospital, and our own E. Pendleton James, who was assistant to President Reagan for presidential personnel, and our own John McLeese on his return from Oman and the Middle East. In 1986, the speaker was snowbound, and at the 12th hour, the committee found that there was enough talent in the Chamber of Commerce to have a successful banquet. Last year, 1988, was a very unique program, and it was called, as it is this year on the front of your program, a celebration of outstanding contributions to the Washington community. Not only has the award been changed, so has the format of the program. I have here 4 programs just to show you the different styles that they have had. This is the third annual banquet in 1962, showing George Washington, of which I think 90% of the programs have used, Gilbert Stuart's portrait of Washington. This is a 1963 program. In 1977, it was in a booklet style, but on the back is shown the logo and the medallion as it was made for our sesquicentennial in 1975. And also it has the city's motto, Washington on the Grow, dash, 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 for 152 years. Last year's program, still quite different, but I think very clever. In the back, it has George Washington as a lad with his hatchet, and the cherry tree forming a frame for the recipients of the award. From 1964 to 1988, the banquet was held in the high school cafeteria for the most part. The banquet was catered by everyone's friend, Martha Ryder, for some 17 or 18 years. Her 1962 menu was very apropos. Washington salad, George's braised early American steak, and Martha's cherry dessert. For 28 of the 30 years, the entertainment has been furnished by the high school music department. And I am sure that there are some of you here this evening who have been a part of that entertainment. The method of selecting the award winners is very simple, and I feel very unbiased. A committee is formed, rather a committee is named, to read each letter from the citizens individually. Then they meet as a committee discussing each letter as many times as necessary until 2 citizens are selected that have touched the community as a whole, other than through their own professions. Long live the hundreds of volunteers in Washington. Long live the Chamber of Commerce, and especially long live the Washington Day Banquet. Thank you.